Welcome everybody to the Deconstructor of Fun podcast. I have a special guest today. Yes, Lempiäinen, CEO of Geeklab, founder and CEO of Geeklab. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks a lot, Miska. It's great to be here. It's been a while since we actually last had a chat, so extremely excited to be here.
We were supposed to record this on site, and then I have the school thing with my kids, and there was a storm, and I'm lazy. Let's put it that way. But I really really wanted to record this on site. I wanted to do this today because I think it's important to talk about product marketing. And I was thinking, who's the best person to talk about product marketing with? And it's of course you. Yes, you've been a product marketer at Rovio. You were a product marketing manager at a studio that I was leading, and since then, I'm just doing a quick intro so that people know who you are. And since then,
Thanks.
you built a platform while being at Rovio, the Geeklab platform. You were just working nights. During the day, you were a product marketing manager for the studio, and during nights, you were this bootstrapper startup person building this amazing tool. With it looked really nice, and then Rovio started using it, and some other companies started using it, and then at one point, you had like I think you had like 130 leads. uh, by leads, I mean different companies that wanted to sign up and start using it. And at that point, you pulled the trigger and became an entrepreneur. But your platform, Geeklab, can you just tell a little bit to the audience what is it about?
Yeah, point on. Thanks. This is always easier when someone else does the bragging part. But awesome. Thanks for that. But yeah, so essentially, actually, speaking of product marketing, like this tool was something that I truly like felt that I needed back when I was doing product marketing at Rovio, and it didn't exist at a level that I wished it would have. So that's precisely why we built it and all the features like sort of around it. So it's been fun ever since leaving Rovio. I felt like for at least the first 30 months, half a year. So I felt like I worked more with my former product marketing team than than was at Rovio, because I was literally building the tool for the product marketeers with the team here at Geeklab. But yeah, so essentially we have a tool that's focused on like three key areas. So we have our analyze section where you can truly like seize the market, a big part of what product marketers actually do, where the market opportunities lay. Uh, what's the average ARPU downloads, revenue of your competitors? What are the key selling points they do? All of that stuff. We gather that data and showcase that in a way that I wish that would have been accessible back when I was a product marketing manager at Rovio. It was a lot of manual labor, so we tried to
Hmm.
get rid of that. Then we have our testing platform, which allows you to run like pre-launch tests, which is extremely crucial for product marketing as well. So essentially, you can create these lookalike app store pages for iOS App Store, Google Play, and Steam as well, so that you can get like a hunch of what your marketing metrics would look like if you have a theme that's around sci-fi against a theme that's pirates, which is something that everyone loves. And then lastly, we have our sort of the thing that we call Ask. So our survey tool that's very sort of mobile first made, done in a way that you're able to get like as high completion rates as possible. And then we have pre-made templates that allow you to quickly assess the like sort of motivational framework of your potential audience or demographics and so on. And all of these combined kind of wraps up together as the ultimate product marketing tool, I guess.
So just to okay, so I'll lead on to the like a first question,
Yeah.
and use what you said before, and that is so. What is product marketing? And what you said is you build a tool that allows to gather market intelligence. So that I know, product marketers give a lot of good market intelligence of, especially like as a product managers, we tend to look at more at the revenues and the kind of competition inside the genre. And when it came the intelligence for product marketing team, it was a lot about positioning of the game. Of course, some of the key like there's overlap between product management, but it was a lot about positioning, and in terms of positioning of how do we want to advertise, what are the unique selling points versus the product manager. We're focusing so much on the individual features instead of how to communicate those features. So market intelligence number one, testing product market fit. That's getting the early hunch of how marketable your setting, your art style, your themes are, so that you're not steering away too much into, I've done those mistakes. I've built a game with sci-fi and it was very, very expensive to market, and you end up in a soft launch looking at crazy CPIs. So kind of getting that first product market fit. And then the third part was surveying. So basically understanding the potential audience and being able to really design against that audience, and position your product in the development already to a target audience. But what other elements do product marketers do except these three?
I think it would be easiest to sum it up in a way. Back when I was doing product marketing, and
Mm-hmm.
still today, as we work with a lot of developers and we see a lot of product marketing managers and different, like company compositions and stuff. So the successful ones that we see is where, like, the two best buddies really are like the game lead and then the product marketing manager.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas the game lead is a very internal voice, in a sense, it's hyper focused on the game and the game team, and communicates and makes sure that the vision gets executed within the game itself. So then the product marketing manager, on the other hand, is a very sort of external voice. It often in bigger companies communicates with all the central units that you kind of need to have to be able to acquire the audience, and then is whereas the game lead is responsible for uh, communicated a vision internally, so that a product marketing manager is then more about how to communicate that external, actually make it happen. So on top of things that you just mentioned, it also depends a bit on what the life cycle of the product is. So
Mm-hmm.
in pre-launch, the teams that you collaborate are quite different than when you do live ops, as an example. And also, like, a lot of the stuff that I did for live ops was pre ATT.
Yeah.
So that was also, I guess, a bit of a different story. What I would add on onto that is product marketing manager is typically the owner of the entire marketing funnel, holistically. So whereas with big companies you might have your UA team that's strictly about like the actual user acquisition. You might have your own like dedicated influencer team, and then on top of that you have your app store optimization team that is
Mm-hmm.
focused on the second layer of it. And then at the end of the day, there's still like the monetization in the game, and you have to make sure that all of this works, and you're acquiring users that actually get what they're
Mm-hmm.
expecting in the game itself. And this is the main responsibility of the product marketing manager, in my view. And the companies, and in my previous experience, the cases where these things went extremely well, is where it's quite a solid collaboration with nearly all the like central units that a big company might have, and then the product marketing sort of gets them together to then work with the game team very closely.
Got it. So as a product marketing manager on a team, the key role is to really rein in all these specialist functions, whether it comes to user acquisition, brand marketing, app store optimization, influencer marketing, CRM or direct marketing campaign people, and basically being that touch point for all these um, auxiliary resources, and partnering together with the game lead or game director or product owner to make sure that the marketing is on par, and um, working with the product that they are marketing.
Yeah, and to add on to that, sometimes the things that what you do in marketing specifically, if you're doing like a bit more mid-core titles. So
Hmm.
often then things that happen in the marketing might not reflect 100% what's in the game itself. So it's very important to still have an alignment into what the marketing is and then what's actually happening in the game itself. And on top of that, to communicate that and involve the game team also into understanding on who the audience is, as those are the players, the consumers in the business as well. So that's also a big responsibility for the product marketing manager, to be able to then to get help the game lead to communicate and have all the data points to be able to communicate also who the audience is, and how they perceive the idea of the game and the theme and so on.
Yeah, that's actually very true. I often interact even now with larger teams that individual product managers might say that, hey, our Instagram page is not up to par compared to this other product that is our rival. So they have like opinions about things that is not in their ownership, and there you start seeing that really, even though people own certain, let's say, social pages, advertising campaign, brand marketing campaigns, they're not coordinated sometimes to communicate the qualities of the product. And sometimes there's just no communication between the marketing team and the product team itself. And so product marketing manager is kind of like project manager for all the marketing efforts.
Yeah,
Very, very clear. Let's say I'm hiring a product marketing manager and I have let's put a game in soft launch. Like we're gearing up for launch, and I'm working at a mid-sized studio with all these auxiliary resources. Like, what is a good product marketing manager? Like, what kind of a person am I looking for? What are my expectations for this person?
so I've always found it extremely useful to be sort of a good generalist. So you're not like extremely good at anything, but you're quite okay with a ton of stuff. The reason for that being that way you're able to communicate very clearly with specific vocabulary with the certain crafts within the team. And this is a case where you mentioned that you have a mid-sized studio that actually
Hmm.
has these resources. In soft launch, you definitely need like a user research like personnel as well on top of what we mentioned earlier. So that would definitely be one thing that I'd be looking for. Like this is where I feel that also like the experience comes handy to understanding the full marketing funnel. It's something that we often talk about a lot, and there's a lot of presentations about it, but also to truly actually have been held or have the will to truly hold all the different sections somewhat in your in your product management, so that you'll be able to craft like a story from the first ad that the user sees to then actually making the final purchase or the first purchase in the game itself. That's like a it's a journey that you have to truly be able to understand, and that's something that I would verify that the product marketing manager is truly on top of.
Got it. So understanding the full marketing funnel, that means that means a lot of things. Like you have to understand
Yeah,
user acquisition. You'll be able to run campaigns at a small scale. You have to understand creative production, creative trends. You have to understand app store optimization to increase your install per thousand impressions. Surveys, you have
yeah,
to understand those to kind of understand the type of players, and then you have to start understanding the game as well that you're marketing, or the product that you're marketing, because you need to know what drives sales, at what points do players monetize, and what kind of a hooks, and so forth. So you have to be quite quite good on many things, but not an expert on everything. So got it. All right,
yeah.
clear. Yeah.
Maybe I quickly add also kind of hence the name manager. So I actually
Mhm.
it felt quite natural to then move to a role of a CEO, and I continued kind of doing the same thing, not being an extreme expert on anything, but let like other people that are actually better at those specific crafts do the thing,
Mhm.
and then just kind of take the ownership of the vision and making sure that that's communicated and executed actually as planned.
How would you test a product marketing manager?
That's actually a very good question. Trying to reflect, because I was helping to hire a replacement for myself too.
Mhm.
So what were the actual questions we asked? But that was also kind of exactly post ATT, so everything was as chaotic as it was
Yeah.
last week when Unity news came up. I would really deep dive into first. Kind of questioning like how the product marketing manager is approaching about like actually seizing up the market, like uh, do they have the knowledge and understanding of being able to look at the market opportunities and go towards a specific blue ocean, or to understand the risks about going there as well. And then secondly, just ask in general about like the full marketing funnel and how they would actually break it down into what that full marketing funnel consists of, to understanding of whether or not they truly understand it in the way you'd want them to.
Got it. And would you expect them to have direct experience in running, Facebook campaigns and, maybe creative productions and stuff like that?
Right. I would say that depends a lot on the size of the company too.
Hmm.
But like specifically a mid-sized company where you might have your like UA team separately, uh,
Hmm.
then not even necessarily at all. Like that's a completely different craft as well. And I feel like the product marketing manager uh, is fully capable of doing their job as well without themselves actually running the technical side of things. But they would still have to be able to understand how, like, for example, the self-attributing networks uh, work like.
Got it. So they have to be avid reader of mobile dev memo, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Or a member of Deconstructor of Fun
Well,
community.
I would say mobile dev memo in this case, and
Yeah,
also subscriber to the paid tier of mobile dev memo. Shout out
right.
to mobile dev memo's $8 a month subscription with incredible insights. So all the product marketing managers get on that. And what is the good organizational setup for product marketing? Is this person part of the marketing function, central marketing, or however you want to see it, or marketing division, or is this person directly on the product team?
This is a good question because I feel like it's always been a burning topic. The best cases, however, when that I've seen is when the product marketing manager is as close to the game lead as a game team as possible, literally sitting with the game team. If that's the only product they work on, even better. Then they can truly like bring their full focus on it, because that's truly also a job that deserves the full focus on it. So that would be ideal. But quite often, it does seem that like the product marketing managers do have to split a few multiple titles. But I would still recommend to actually, then split your week among sitting together with the game teams, because at the end of the day, that's the actual product that you're marketing. So that's exactly where you should be, in my opinion.
Got it. So even if you're placed in an organization into a central function, or you might be working on two or more titles, you should be still spending most of your time directly with the team. And that's actually a great point. I mean, Jen on this podcast as well has earned a lot of respect from the game teams by just being so deep in the game, and oftentimes like playing the competitors games and being like even more advanced in the game than the game team itself. And that garners a lot of respect in terms of what she has to then say, or any product marketing manager has to say. So you kind of have to, not kind of, you really have to use the product that you're marketing, and not only to understand it better, but also to be able to communicate with the same language with the product team.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
all right, last one. How has product marketing evolved from pre ATT, when you were a young product marketing manager with a full set of hair working at
I
Rovio,
knew that was
to
coming up.
I know, to now being a founder 4 years and there's not a lick of hair left because a role of a founder is so fun.
Yep, yep. um, well, like pre-ATT, I thought about this the other day, and it was great time as well. Like but we actually put a lot of trust in the networks too. I felt like back then it was more about like just keeping up with the trends, coming up with the creative strategy, and then sort of letting the networks kind of find your audience, if you know what I mean. Whereas now with post like ATT, it's so much more difficult when you lack so much data from what you kind of were able to feed back to the behemoth. So now, like, it's a lot for the it's a big responsibility for the product marketing manager to actually be the one that then finds the data, meaning that you have to conduct these surveys constantly. You have to find ways to test and research and learn about your audience, what things work and what don't, to then feed back to your creative strategy, as you kind of lack that uh, automatic machine that used to work pre-ATT. I would say that that's probably the biggest difference.
So
Uh, yeah.
would you say that the role of a product marketing manager has um, increased, or in terms of, I wouldn't say value. Everybody's valuable in
Mm.
the game, but increased in terms of like their share of voice has increased over time.
Yeah, like previously, it could have been that you had a team that had like a very strong creative lead within the team as well, and then a user research team. I feel like previously it was more capable of running without a product marketing manager, whereas now, because we lack those data like opportunities, the UA managers are still, eh, if not more busy than pre ATT, so they don't have any time to find any new data sources either on or surveying the audience constantly. So yeah, I guess I could you could say that I'm saying that the importance has risen.
And has anybody else's importance in the marketing funnel decreased post ATT?
That's a good question too. Not necessarily decreased, but I feel like a lot of like the roles have shifted. I wouldn't say that anyone's has necessarily decreased, just
Mm,
maybe shifted a bit, like uh, into the areas right, like kind of side to your own craft.
got it. And okay, actually, I always say final questions, and I asked five more. Final question. Let's say I'm hiring this. I have all the functions, but I don't have product marketing. I have everybody. Like I can access my UA team, my brand teams, my CRM teams, my user research teams. If I bring in product marketing manager, will that increase my cost or decrease my cost because I'm getting somebody to actually manage my cost centers better?
Yeah, they will also want to test things, and typically that costs too. So I would
Hmm.
say, like, the upcoming 4 months, it will cost you a lot
Hmm.
more. Hopefully, that means that they're doing their job well by actually testing and understanding the audience. But then on the other side, that will save you, if not millions, a lot more, by then making sure that you, if you're in a soft launch, or even better, if you're already bringing in a product marketing manager when you're in a pre-production phase, and you want to bring them in to assess the market and run these tests at a stage where it's most crucial. So that product marketing manager might end up costing you quite a bit, but then it might also help you to fail extremely early, saving
Hmm.
you 12 to 24 months of run rate, as then you don't go and end up on like early days of soft launch to find out the exact same things that you could have found out like way earlier, leaving you room to try again with the learnings that you got from the first failure.
Awesome. Let's put it this way: fail faster with a product marketing manager to do the early test, and over the long time, you're able to adjust your marketing efforts accordingly to the phases of the product. And this is actually really important when working with, especially external marketing teams. It takes so much of your effort and time to figure out what's going on the marketing side. Are they doing everything possible? Why am I getting these type of users? What's happening with my retention? Where the product leads or game leads attention goes between the internal development, which has to be as fast as
Mm.
possible to adjust to all the KPIs that you're seeing, to again second guessing what's happening on the marketing. Is everything okay? Doesn't seem like it. Can we figure this out? So if you can offload basically that external part to a product marketing manager and just ask one person instead of chasing UA managers down and asking what's going on with these campaigns, why am I getting this type of stuff, that makes your life a lot easier, and you're able to focus on the product that you're building.
Yeah, 100%. And it's an eternal balance between like the LTV and then the CPI, and
Hmm.
quite often, as we know, when you do things that can drastically lower your CPI, that will then end up hurting your LTV if there's a mismatch. And this is kind of what the product marketing managers are extremely good at, is balancing these things out. I think it was back at Rovio, but we kind of coined this North Star metric of CPID1. We didn't follow like the CPIs per se at all, but we actually only followed CPI, like then multiplied by the day one retention. Back when the game was at a stage
Hmm.
where it didn't still necessarily even have content for 3 days, but like that was a way for us to see, as we do things in the marketing side and evolve our creative strategy, how does that then sort of get interpreted and felt like when you then actually come to the game itself. Are you getting into what you expect, and specifically with mid core and titles that, like mentioned earlier, that can have like a
Hmm.
bigger this balance between the what the ads are showing and then the actual core gameplay. So this is extremely important.
So CPI day one, meaning like if let's say my day one is 40% and my CPI is $10, so that would give
Yeah,
me four, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then if my day one is 20% and my CPI is $10 still, then that will give me two. And so the higher the number, the
Sorry,
better the
actually,
early.
the other way around. So
Hmm.
we had to obviously revert the D1 so that it like the lower the number, the better it was. So if you have a $10 CPI,
Hmm.
being bad, at a soft launch, I guess. But if you had a $10 CPI and then 30% retention rate, so then that would have been inverted, so that then you multiplied that with 0.7, leading up to a CPI of less than what it would be if it would be 20%, because then you would multiply it by 0.8. So
Got
with
it.
20%, you would end up in sort of 8 as the balanced CPI, and with 30%, you would end up in 7 as the balanced
Got
CPI.
it. CPI times one minus retention percentage.
Right, exactly. Sorry, you
Okay.
mentioned about the storm. You mentioned about the storm, and that actually woke me up like 3 a.m. this morning. So I haven't slept since either. So like the equations are a bit hazy, but we got
You're a
there.
founder. You're a founder. You shouldn't be sleeping either, right?
True, true.
All right, yes, sir. This was fantastic. A quick
Yeah,
podcast. Basically, I wanted to just have a call and refresh my memory, but also my understanding of product management, what it was then, what it is now, how you should optimize your teams to take full benefit of product management. And for all the listeners, hope you enjoyed this. A quick information um, tidbit. I don't know. Hopefully, it's useful. Most importantly, from my perspective, I want to give a shout out to Geeklab. I've used it at two different companies. Really helped me out as we didn't have product marketing manager in the beginning, so it helped even people like myself who are quite dummies to understand how to position, how to find that product market fit, and get some market intelligence. So you've built a really cool company against the needs that you had as a product marketing manager. So thanks for the product, and thanks for the blog for the podcast. So thanks, yes, sir.
thanks a lot, Miska. It was a pleasure as always.
All
Thanks.
right, everybody, talk to you guys later.